Go. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Town of Rhinebeck Zoning Board of Appeals for September 17th, 2025. Just note that we have all 5 members, so we certainly have a quorum. And the first thing is review and approval, hopefully, of the draft of the August 20th, 2025 meeting minutes. I went through them. I didn't see any corrections that were needed or any mistakes or what have you. How about the rest of the meeting? Did you have a chance to take a look at them?
I had two comments for the bath sign. It said that the lighting was proposed to be downlit, but the applicant has removed, so I just would say the applicant's removed it. And there were also 2 comments that were received from Cornelia Gallo and Steve Beer, so do you want to just put those in the record? And for the Nick's Daily case, 1072, it says that the resolution is for granting variances, but it was for upholding the ZEO's determination for that.
Eagle eye.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else? I make a motion that we approve the minutes subject to those corrections.
Second.
Do I have a second? Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passed. All right, so we don't have any new applications on tonight, but we have a bunch of public hearings.
So Scott, I hate to say this because we don't have new applications, but the public hearing should start at 7:05.
Oh, so we have to wait 2 minutes?
Well, do you want to go through the resolutions that need to be
You know,
prepared?
we can do the resolutions.
And
Yeah,
then,
let's
or at
do
least
that.
one of them.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it for Arch Care since
Sure.
Paul's here?
Let's see. Okay. Right. Get the right one. It looks like we have 4 resolutions on, is that right? Tonight?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So, okay, this is a resolution in the matter of the area variance application of large care at Ferncliff, ZBA case number 1083. Now therefore be it resolved based on all of the facts described above and upon the reasoning described above as follows. Section 1. The ZBA hereby grants these variances requested by the applicant, finding that the benefit to the applicant outweighs the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood and community by such a grant. The signs are internal and intended to assist visitors. It involves replacing existing signs with those of the same size and design and in the same location as previously existed. There's no adverse environmental or physical impact, and the signage serves a clear functional purpose. While the difficulty is self-created, the proposed signage represents the minimum necessary to provide safe and effective navigation of the property. Section 2. The granting of these variances expressly contingent upon the following. The sign shall be constructed in conformity with the application of plans submitted. Section 3. The granting of these variances shall be expressly contingent upon the applicant's full payment to the town of Rhinebeck of any and all fees and escrow deposits due in connection with this application in full compliance with Article 14, fee reimbursement of the town of Rhinebeck zoning law. These variances shall not be deemed granted until all such fees are paid in full by the applicant. Section 4, the granting of these variances does not absolve the applicant from having to secure any other required permits and or approvals. In Section 5, the area variances shall be null and void unless the proposed installation of the signs is commenced within 1 year of this resolution. Discussion?
Sounds good.
I thought it was a pretty easy one. Replacing existing signs, no bigger, just replacing signs, same. So, all right. No discussion. Then I make a motion that we approve the resolution as read. Do I have a second? All right, second. Gretchen?
Scott.
Yes.
Richard.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
All right.
I have a question. Do I have to go up to the mic or not? It was just basically for Gretchen, you'll get us the sign permit fees required?
That would be Brian.
Okay.
So I'll get you the approval,
You give me the approval.
and then you'll follow up with
We owe
Brian.
sign permit fees, which we'll pay, and then obviously the variance fees, all of that stuff will be.
Well, the variance fees are already paid.
Right, but I mean, after we get the
We'll
variance. we're
keep up on the
requesting-
escrow and then,
Okay,
like I said, you want to follow up with Brian after you get the approval.
okay.
For
I'll
the
send
sign
an email
permit.
tomorrow. Thank you.
All right. So, Kim, may I
You're good.
proceed? Okay.
Yep.
All right, so the first public hearing is the case of Constance Bathrick, Conley Signs, case number 1075. Is there somebody here for that? Come on up.
Sure.
And as I recollect, Kim, is this a continuation
It's
of?
a continuation of the public hearing.
So I should probably make a motion to open the public
Yes.
hearing? I'll make that motion. Do I have a second? They all in favor? Aye. All right, the public hearing is open.
So the public hearing was really kept open because Paul had mentioned that a temporary sign was on, and I think the board wanted to just drive through, just to kind of see. He had mentioned that the visuals from the sheet aren't as vibrant as what was actually proposed on the site. So anyway, that's why the public hearing's open.
Right.
So of course, if anybody has a comment, but if the board has any further comments on this.
Yeah, I've driven by it, and I concur that it's not as vibrant as the application. Is anyone here for this application? It's case number 1075, Constance Bathrick, Timely Signs. Anybody here for that? Okay, there's nobody here from the public. That should be noted. I think we had a discussion before about the situation. Unless you have anything else to add, I think we can just close the public hearing and start to go over the action.
So, yeah, just one, so there was a question raised based on the planning board referral comments about if the Python wrap was permitted. We did look into the sign regulations. Under design standards, it does say that all signs, except for window signs, have to be either wooden, metal, or masonry. So I
Did you
just.
say masonry?
Mason, yeah, Mason. So anyway, I have, because we have had the deliberations at the last meeting, I have drafted a resolution. I just included a statement saying you should talk to the CEO and just make sure it's in compliance, that's all.
Yeah, that was actually the one question I was going to ask, because I didn't get a chance to contact his office and didn't know whether that would be part of the variance or.
Yeah, so I have drafted, because the board had kind of discussed that they weren't overly concerned with the variance request. So I have drafted a resolution based on their deliberations to approve the variance. I just added that as a condition for you to go talk to Brian before the sign permit, and if you need to make adjustments to the material, you can deal with it at that time.
Okay, that sounds great.
All right, well, thank you. And anybody have anything else to add? No. Okay, so I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, and we have 62 days, but we have a resolution tonight, so we'll read it later on.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, next up is case number 1078, Nest. Is there somebody here for that? Come on up.
Hey.
Okay, and again, I believe this is a continuation of a prior public hearing. Okay, so I make a motion that we open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. All right, it's open. As I recollect, we're waiting for the planning board to do their seeker determination. Is that?
Yep, that was one question that we were certainly waiting for that. At Monday's meeting on September 15th, the planning board did go through seeker and issued a negative declaration. So the ZBA can now act on a resolution for that. I don't have one prepared because I wasn't sure when the planning board was going to be issuing that, but you have already started deliberations on that. You can certainly continue that. I do have notes, so I can also draft, but, and of course, any feedback you have, I can certainly.
And let me ask, is there anybody from the public, anybody out there who's here for that application? That is case number 1078, Dove's Nest, Southlands. Anybody here for that? Okay, we had some interest before, so.
Yeah,
just wanted to
and I
make sure.
think the applicant has provided the renderings.
I think this was the
Yeah.
latest one. We
So our proposed doing mature evergreens in that space to blend in with the willows, and yes, that's actually so. And those will go in mature.
Okay, that was actually my concern. I forget the part, I think Brian might have been doing the site inspection, somebody brought it up. Was it Joe?
You do,
Um,
I do.
Yeah. Noticing that, the leaves will come down, and they will come down, and there might be some visual things that evergreens would be a good idea, so.
It's in motion.
Okay. That's my only concern, is that there's any chance that we'll ever be able to see.
And the owners are fully committed to where if there was ever a glimpse or something that somebody didn't like, I mean, it would be plugged in, and they're fully committed to screening 100%.
Do you know generally how many, or just going to kind of put it in the
5.
holes?
Yeah, I mean, the plan is now to kind of fill those gaps and fill in that array with 5 Canadian hemlocks and 1 white pine.
Questions, concerns?
Do you think you'll be able to see this from Route 9?
I don't think so. I've looked.
Because Route 9
pulled
is
over.
higher, and I kind of went by it during the week, and I just said, oh my God, that's the spot where it's going to be. So, I mean, it's a distant from it, obviously.
Yeah, I've myself have personally stopped there to look,
Yeah.
and I do not believe it'll be visible at all, especially with the screening. So it was hard to even see it without it, but I think certainly with the screening, it'll go away.
There's a fine line between that screening and then the height of the screening, which will stop the sun from hitting the panels.
Correct.
So is that I guess that's thought out about keeping.
Yeah, and I mean, it's, if we were going for the most productive system possible, it would, go towards what setbacks ask for further into the field. But then that angle and that elevation, which is I've explained, hopefully in enough detail, but that it just becomes more visible and harder to screen. So there is a slight loss, not a huge loss, but there will be a production loss from it being close to that southern property line where there's natural screening. There will be some shading element or shading loss in primarily the winter months when the sun is in winter solstice. So it's going to lose a little bit there. The willows on the east side, those will be trimmed as they grow. The evergreens are better because as they grow in height, their point is still, they don't grow out this way, they grow this way. So shading will be minimal, but there will be some in the morning. So the siding does provide some loss to the system, but in an attempt to be able to hide it visibly, that was kind of thought through and decided to put it there.
Quick question, what is the mature height of the trees that you're proposing now?
I don't know.
I think white pines are like 8
Those are pretty big.
I was just curious if over time what that would look like.
They will be on the eastern line, so if there is an impact over time, it'll just be in those early morning hours as the sun moves around more south. But it'll clear this.
I think you indicated it would only also go to a certain height, and then you kind of prune it, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing you do with evergreens to top them off that way. I don't think so, but
I don't think
the
so.
willow certainly you can top the height and get them to grow this way.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for amending and changing the screening and adding the evergreens. That's very helpful, and I think gives a certain comfort level to us, because obviously that's the big concern, is
Yeah.
being able to see it. All right, so I'll make a motion at this time that we close the public hearing. Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we have 62 days in order to make a determination. Typically, we do it by the next meeting, which will be October 15th. I got it right.
My
So
son's
we'll have a
birthday.
resolution that will be read
Yeah, be a good day. Yeah.
on the 15th, right? And it'll be online that day or two.
Okay.
Great, thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Yep.
Thanks.
Actually, one question I do have, Mr. Hightower. I know that the board had also mentioned, I know that you have mentioned that the applicant and Southland have had ongoing communications, and I know that the ZBA had mentioned at the last meeting if there was anything in writing, any further comments from Southland? I don't think anything's been received,
No,
but I know that the board had wanted to just make sure they were okay with it. I think that you.
If you do have something, if there was something that could be produced, assuming you have a meeting of the minds and you agree on something, and they support this, that would be wonderful to have.
and I think from what I gathered was that would be something that would need to come through the full board. And so I don't have that or haven't heard anything in regards to that.
But if you do get it, and the public hearing is closed, we're not supposed to really accept anything after this, but we would certainly accept that.
Okay, understood.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So as I mentioned, the board has started kind of deliberating. From my notes, most of the board members following the site visit felt a little bit more comfortable, and we discussed screening. I know Richard still had some reservations about it that could be placed in another location. Do you have any other comments to add for your deliberations, or just?
Well, my only concern was the issue of the leaves falling off and there not being anything blocking. So if the evergreens there, that gives me some comfort, and that makes me feel more comfortable granting the application. Because there was a concern about the site visit when we looked and saw it, and without the leaves being on it, there would be some chance of it being seen in the wintertime. So I think the evergreens hopefully solve that problem. So that's just but the rest again, I don't know how you guys feel.
Yeah, I think the evergreens are going to do it for some reason.
I still feel very strongly that it just doesn't feel right that it's right up against your neighbor's property. All the land that they have, I think they could have found another space.
Yeah, I think the site visit for me, and I understand what you're saying, most of the property is wooded, and I had concerns about, well, why can't you put the ground mounted system, closer to the house or somewhere else? And there were some issues as far as swamps, being in that same field where it is, and then on the other side of the roadway, being too far away. And the whole house, the whole area around it has all kinds of trees. And then the other thing was I was concerned about whether there could be panels put on the roof. And then from looking at the house, it was clear that it was not.
Without a doubt, it could
Yeah,
not be
so,
put on the roof. But the driveway going out, there was this gully
Yeah.
that had, now that it would be perfectly in their view, but I think that was a good spot to do it. And when we talk about being too far away from the pole, that's only if you want to save a certain amount of money and you don't want to go underground and you don't want to put other poles. I think that's my opinion on that. Yeah.
And I respect that. We're not supposed to always agree.
No, that's good.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And for me, I respect Richard's opinion too, and particularly with your experience. I personally, I'm comfortable with moving forward on this.
Great.
All right. Shall we move on to number 3? Okay, the next case on is 1081 Jennifer Josephsberg.
She said she wasn't there.
She's not going to be here, okay.
So this was another continuation.
Right, and
One of the things that we were waiting for was that.
the planning board on the.
Right, the planning board
wetlands.
had asked to confirm if they needed any other permits, and Ms. Josephsberg is in front of the planning board currently for the wetlands permit. She was on September 2nd as her first meeting. I asked the planning board if they wanted the ZBA to wait any further. They said no, they're comfortable with moving forward. So if you'd like, you can close the public hearing.
Okay, I suppose procedurally, I should probably, since it's a continuation, I should make a
Yes.
motion to open.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right, I make a motion that we open the public hearing on the Josephsberg matter. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. and we've had discussion about why we continued the public hearing, and that was to wait for the planning board to address the wetlands issue. Apparently, they have gotten far enough along, according to Kim, that you know, they give us the blessing of moving forward. Is that accurate? Okay. So then I will make a motion that we close the public hearing. Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll read the resolution at the end of the meeting. Okay, the next one on is Travers. And that is case number 1085. And again, this was this another one where we had the planning board request that we,
Yes, so this is the first public hearing for Travers, but the planning board, it's in front of the planning board for a special use permit. They wanted to wait until the public hearing to be able to further review it. The public hearing is scheduled for October 6th, which will be before the next CBA meeting.
so after tonight, they would like
you to hold the public hearing open until they have a chance to
Right.
have the public hearing.
And we, as a courtesy to another board in the town, we do that. So anyway, the applicant is up at the podium there, so please state your name and lead us through. We've already obviously know a bit about the application, because Jeff Irish took us through it. If you could take us through it again. And is there anybody here for this application?
Did you open the public
Actually, all right, I make a motion that we open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm Chris Reichen, and I work with Jeff Irish at Hudson Solar and Battery Solutions. And we are proposing a ground mount, which we have right up here. The reason we chose a ground mount is because it's a historic house. For a variety of reasons, there's shading on the house. The material that the roof is made of is not appropriate for solar. And it's a historic property, so we don't want to sully the aesthetics of that. This particular location is ideal because it has a natural burn from the road, so you won't be able to see it when you're going east or west on Route 308. And when you're coming up the driveway to the house, you really won't see it, or if you're going down the driveway. It's on a little bit of a hill. It's kind of nestled in amongst some trees. So we did some preemptive work in the winter and took pictures of what it would look like in the wintertime. And you can't see it from the road. So even when the trees are down, the leaves are down, you can't see it. So yep, those are some of our photos. And it would go right up, nestled in here. So there's a bit of a gully there. And
We have a groovy pointer somewhere.
Yeah, we're a class act here. See?
There we go. Yeah, so it's kind of up in here. This is 308. This is heading east, I believe this photo was taken. And so the variance is we'd like to have 80 feet as opposed to the 100 that the town requires. And, the thing is if we put it behind the house, there's no place there. It's all wooded, lots of trees. Obviously, we don't want to take down trees if we don't have to. This particular location had a lot of brush, dead trees that already fell down, some trees that were dying that came down, but it was limited amount of vegetation that had to be removed to clear that space. And if you were driving down the driveway on the left-hand side, it would be very visible if we put the ground out there. So over here, totally visible from the road. Over here, you can't see anything. And this is a rise, so when you're coming up, it's very hidden by this. It's a perfect little spot. And same thing here, this berm is pretty high up, so it's about 8 feet, I'd say.
This is the
down here.
Stanford White property?
Yeah. So it's the only location really we've walked around the property. It's a large property. I mean, it's about over 5 acres, but the thing is, it's very narrow and long. So it's not a lot of possibilities on the sides, nothing in the back. So this is the reason why we would choose the front property.
Has this been staked out?
Yeah, we've staked it out. We've flown a drone, and that's the best spot where we could get some good solar access for them.
Because what obviously for a site inspection, so they're going to need to see.
Right, yeah, and we also spray painted on the ground, so you can kind of get an idea of where that goes. And as far as disturbance to the area, we'll just trench straight down the driveway, and with the site map, you'd see that over here is where the utility meter is, so it's already following the path of natural progression.
Usually on something like this, aside from staking, if there could be some kind of, we've used balloons, we've used other things to show the height.
Right, yeah. When Jeff and I went out there in the wintertime, I held something up, and he went across the road and took pictures, you can even see me.
Right,
So.
when we go out there, we're going to need.
Oh, for where the location, right, yeah,
So we
sure.
can see how high it's going to be.
Yep, no
Like, for
problem.
example, with Dove Nest, we did the same thing, we asked them.
Put some balloons up, yeah, okay.
Did you keep that picture?
Of me holding a sign up or something. Yeah, he probably has some of those, wearing a little hat. But, yeah, it was cold. We took action to prepare, we wanted to make sure that you wouldn't be able to see in the winter or in the springtime, so.
And no trees need to be removed, everything's.
No, exactly how you just saw that. That's the way it looks now, so let's have that, yeah, that's all cleared basically. And, you walk up a hill to get to that, so it is, again, tucked in amongst this brush and the trees, so we really couldn't have picked a better spot in that regard. And we had the archaeological study that was done. That's going to come in probably before September 22nd, so that was done a couple of weeks ago, and they're speeding that along, so we should have that. And I was there the day they did it, and the woman said that they didn't find anything, and she said she was confident that this wouldn't be a problem, so.
Is the clock ticking on this because of tax credits?
That's it, yeah. Federal tax credits are done December 31st, so everyone and their grandmother is trying to get solar right now.
How's it going for you?
It's busy. I'm going home and I'm going to work right after this, so yeah, it's nuts. No more grandmas. We're not doing any more for the end of the year, but it's not a big deal, but yeah.
So if I'm doing the math, you'll get in just under the radar.
Yeah, we'll
Because
probably
it
get in
has to be done,
October, November.
Inspection has got inspected, right?
Yep, yep.
May 31st.
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done this. Every year there's something that goes on, and we're always till the stroke of midnight we're getting stuff done. Yeah, any,
Should we, as the planning board doesn't want us to keep this open until October 15th.
They
So-
do or they don't?
They do.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and so what I would recommend, take, if there's any comments, I
Right.
would take the comments, but you can start your deliberations.
And then have a
And then we
resolution
can still
available.
be preparing a resolution if everything goes well at the planning board. Because we're, in addition to having any response back from the planning board, we do need them to also finish seeker, which they might be doing at October 6th. I'm not sure what their plans are, but I think they're aware of the situation as well.
Okay. We should keep that in mind, to have a resolution.
Sure.
Very, very handy.
Thanks.
Glad to ask the question. Any questions? I know the property well, because I was out there within the
the
year.
garage.
Yeah, the garage.
The garage, yeah.
So I can tell you from my recollection, what Chris said is correct as far as, I know the berm's there, I know you can't see, I couldn't, it's tough to find things, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because of the berm and what have you, and then the way the road is and the trees and everything else, and I know there's all the forest in the back, because that's where you nestle in the garage, so.
You know your neighbors well, you have good relations.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I don't know the people up the very front very well. They're Canadians and they're redoing their property. But we're quite distant from that.
Yeah, we sent out the certified notices. Nobody's really, balked at that, so that's good.
Okay, so again, you already have the stake, just have something showing us the height, so when we
Sure.
go out there.
Yeah, shouldn't
we can
be,
see that.
it'll be less than what you guys require, so that's the, I think it's less than 10 feet, so, yeah.
I say you try and move it along as much as we can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get out there and we'll do what. It's up to the planning board to take care of what they have to take care of.
Yeah,
We'll
but
be ready,
we
we'll
do have to
we'll be
wait.
ready to go.
Okay.
How long would this take to construct that?
Not like maybe 3 days, it doesn't really take too long, yeah. 1 day for screwing and then 2 days for the guys, maybe 1 day for electrical work, but yeah, it doesn't take too long. Probably 3 days, I'd say, barring weather and other things.
How far are they from, are they pulling in electrical from the street or from the house?
Yeah, so there's 308 right there, and they're right there. It's 80 feet,
Got it.
so it's just
Thank you.
a little shy of what the variance, what the requirements are for the zoning.
Thank you.
Yep.
And it's going to be busy on this stuff too, so Kimberly is going to be busy on this too.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's well organized.
We jumped to it. You guys tell us something to do, we took it right away. So.
Any other questions? Concerns? Yeah. All right. Normally I would close the public hearing, but we have the request from the planning board that we keep it open, so we're going to do that. We'll have the continuation of the public hearing on October 15th, and perhaps we'll have a resolution ready depending on what the planning board does and communicates to us.
Okay, great.
All right. And in the meantime, we'll come out on the Saturday. Is it Saturday? Okay.
Yeah, always.
By Saturday morning, one or more of us will be out there to take a look. So do we go through you, Chris, or?
Yeah, you can go through me because then I'll go out there and make sure it's prepped for you guys. So, yeah, either me or Jeff, it's fine.
And there's also a convenient pull off the park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
so, by the way.
Right,
You're welcome to drive down, but it's close.
right about
It's
here.
a nice walk.
Yeah, yes, it's nice.
As you can see that, yeah, it's right about down here, and then you just kind of walk up there, so that's a nice little.
October 11th, which is Saturday before the public hearing. October 11th, is there a reason to look at this?
A motion for site visit? Is that what you're asking? A motion?
Site-
No. She's saying
It's
October
October
11th
11th,
might
it's
be a
Saturday.
possible date.
Okay.
Is that, will you be available?
October 11th?
Yeah.
Is that the next ZBA meeting?
Well,
or
the next ZBA meeting is the 15th.
Right.
The weekend.
Oh, the
that's
Saturday.
11th, so we can do the site inspection.
Yeah, either Jeff or I will be there. We can meet you guys there.
Or at the very least,
But we'll
stake it.
yeah.
Stake it, yeah.
Yeah,
And the 15th, you can be available on the 15th.
yeah, yep. Okay, sounds
All right.
good.
Well,
Thanks
thank
a
you.
lot. Appreciate it.
So at this point in time, I'm making a motion that we continue the public hearing until October 15th. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. And hopefully we can get out there on the 11th.
So, any other board members have any discussions? Scott, you gave your insight. Anybody else agree with Scott or
Yeah,
have any
well,
additional comments?
You gotta see the property, because.
Yeah, I've been out there with you about the garage.
Yeah.
From this, I think we should move it along, as I said.
Yeah.
I was wondering, has the ZBA ever not taken the advice of the suggestion from the planning board of keeping the public hearing open?
I don't think we've ever done that, because usually it makes sense. They need to either, a lot of times it's like a secret determination, they take a lead agency, and they just need more time or whatever it is. So they have a good reason for requesting it, and as a courtesy, putting the matter open for 30 days or less, whatever.
And in this instance, it shouldn't delay the process any because they're going to be meeting on October 6th. And we expect to have a comment from them. But in this case, because it is an unlisted action, they will be doing seeker. And again, I anticipate that they would probably be thinking about that on October 6th.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks for moving along.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, the next matter is case 1086, which is W. Gary Meek, 399 Mill Road. Good evening. So come on up, and this is an initial public hearing. So I make a motion that we open the public hearing. Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so the public hearing is open. Is anyone here for this application, which again is case 1086, the Meek matter, 399 Mill Road? Anybody here for that? All right, well, still.
You'll find my neighbors have sent in written,
Yes.
all supporting the application.
Yeah, we did get something from,
Something from Woody Eats and Carlo Scardinelli.
Is there a Shona Berry?
Sean.
Oh, Sean Ferry too?
Shona Berry supported, I see that right here. And yes, we've gotten some positive feedback from your neighbors. So if you could, you're on camera, if you just explain to the public, I know, it's terrifying. And we got the pointer already. If you can just take us through the application.
Okay, so this is my property, 399 Mill Road, and this is a proposed shed. It's a 140 square foot shed. Beside the shed, I'm going to take the opportunity to put in emergency power generation and propane and gas storage, which will all be partially shielded by the shed. The shed itself is not just a standard shed, we've chosen to get it cedar clad. It will then match the property, which is cedar, and should be attractive from the road. It shouldn't be something that needs to be shielded from the road. This is a style of shed. It's not going to be that colour of blue. It won't have some of the little finicky bits on it, but that's basically the 10 by 14 shed. The shed will have white trim. And
yeah, there you go.
yeah, that's just the architectural drawing from the manufacturer. It doesn't really, they don't, that's
not gonna be
vertical
that
slats, not the
Yeah, I believe
horizontal.
you said at the last meeting it's going to kind of match the house. I think you have a picture of that.
That's right.
Okay.
There's the house, which is cedar shingles. And the shed sits to the north and will be cedar horizontal slats, which will weather into weather similar to a house, obviously.
And then stake, the general area where this is going to be staked out,
It's sprayed out,
sprayed. Okay.
yes.
Just as long as we can see where it is.
Yes, it will be blindingly obvious. The planning people already visited it and
And
said,
he blinded them.
they said this was the obvious place and its position was better than they thought, because
Whoa.
it's sunken down below. There's a
That's high
berm,
praise from them.
there's a berm which is about this height, which we saw when we cut away the shrubbery there. It looks as if it's been there since the building of the house. So that's the general area. This was meant originally to show the outline of the gravel pad. And then there's the 10 by 14 shed, the generator and the propane tank. And the variance is based on the shed corner here. That's the closest point to the road, which is sprayed up. It has to be on a rock, which is protruding up. All my area is very rocky here, a lot of protrusion of round rock. So this sort of sunken area is in fact this area here, and you can't quite see it, but that's where the slope begins down to the kill. And the berm is here, so anything coming down the road from here, they certainly won't see the propane tank, which stands about this height. I think the planners concluded that they probably wouldn't even see the shed. It's only when you're coming up from the south that it would become obvious, but not for long. Okay. The DEC have already responded and said that they have absolutely no concerns. I.e., they've said it's not a wetland area, so they're not worried about it. Okay?
Is October 11th convenient for us to come out and visit you and see this blinding?
Yes. By all
We'll
means.
wear sunglasses. You're safe.
The 11th is fine.
Because one or more of us will come out, we always do site visits, just so we can see the topography as you described with the berm.
Yes.
And
Yep,
and,
that's fine.
how the lay of the land is. Okay. Questions, concerns from?
So what is the distance between the pad and the kill?
Oh, it's the kill's about 200 odd feet down here,
I have a
And down.
topography.
and then there is a map that sort of shows there's a little stream here, and that's the kill. And this is fairly steep slope.
Thank you.
It looks like it's almost farther, well, maybe farther away from the kill than the houses, based upon.
Yeah, from the kiln, yes.
Questions, concerns?
No?
Nope.
All right, then, at this point in time, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, and what that means is that we have 62 days to render a resolution on this matter, but we don't do it in 62 days. We typically do it within 30 or so. We do it at the next meeting, which is October 15th. So we'll have a resolution for October 15th. We'll come and visit you on the 11th, and that's the process. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
Subject to, obviously, the site visit. I think, but that's just my opinion. So, again,
I think it looks like a very nicely thought out project.
And
Agree.
And I kind of know that portions of that roadway, we've had other applications where there are kind of a lot of little berms and things like that, so stuff can be hidden. So I suspect this is kind of like some of the other applications we've had in the past.
I think to his point, I think he makes a very interesting point. If something's nice.
Well, that's
then,
true.
You know, what's the harm in seeing it? It's, you know, we don't need to hide everything.
Right. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so.
That's a good point.
So,
What's that other one?
or, and yeah, boy, if the planning board's already, no, but seriously, I think it is, I understand it, and it does look like a very attractive building, and it makes a lot of sense. But sometimes people just don't want to see anything. They don't want to see any building. And so if it's hidden, that's a plus.
People or buildings?
Buildings are a plus.
Oh.
People are usually not, in my experience. So, on to the next application, which is case 1087, which is Greencliff Court LLC. Is there something here for that? Come on up. Is there anybody in the audience who is here for this application? Anybody? Okay, well, I wasn't asking about you. I was asking about the people. Okay. So, again, this is also, I think, the first time, correct?
Yeah, first one.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we open the public hearing. Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I guess, Brett, you ought to note that Richard had to leave at 8:15.
I don't think he's left.
Oh, he hasn't left, he just
He just
excused
stepped out.
himself, all right. He has to leave at 8:15, all right. So anyway, the public hearing is open. What we need from you, as you've seen it already, is just to take us through the application, and we'll be asking you some questions. So take it away. We already have the thing in your hand, I see.
Yeah.
So you're ready?
Yes, yes.
All right.
So, recap from last month, I'm a little further south of the previous project. I'm at the corner of Mill Road and Greencliff Court. This is a historic preservation district, and the lot is an undersized existing non-conforming property. Due to its abnormal shape and smaller size than allowed, we're seeking approval from these variances because when you offset the required setbacks, the property becomes essentially non-buildable. And we're seeking approval on a two-story structure, which is a carport with a second floor deck above. The deck is proposed on the western side of the existing building, and the second floor deck above is not covered. It would just have a railing at 3 foot 6 inches above the finished floor. And even though the site, the property is on a district that's historic preservation, the building itself is not historic. It's actually a building that was built in 1975. It's Ray's Ranch, and that's the scope of the work. And I believe we requested.
Yes, I always request additional,
Yes.
because there were no renderings showing what you wanted to
Right,
add.
right.
And I know you've done that, so we can put that out.
Yeah, so here we go. So this is the existing structure, and it's going to go under renovation as well from inside to outside. And in that process, the client wishes to add a carport here, and the carport would be placed over the existing driveway, so no disturbance to the existing vegetation would occur. And it just extrudes the same width of the house, 20 feet out, stairs going up to the second floor deck, and the carport existing underneath. Wood siding, improvements to the inside of the house, adjusting some windows, but everything with neutral colors, organic materials.
And Kim, has the planning board reviewed this?
Yes,
I know
so,
there was a-
yes, they were at they had a public hearing on Monday, September 15th, and the planning board said that there's no concerns.
So they've given us the questions.
Yep.
Questions, concerns, my main thing was just having a rendering of what was available.
Right, yeah, nice.
So thank you for I asked already, but I'll ask again.
No,
No, that doesn't hurt to ask again. Again, anyone here for this application? That's why we have the public hearings, so we can chime up if you have any questions, concerns, opinions on the matter.
We had some neighbors show up to the Monday public hearing, and they were in favor of, the renovation of the house, and things done to it would be better than what's there now, so no opposition on that.
Yeah, I really appreciate these renderings because
Gives you better
it
visual.
seemed like, in my mind, you were just adding a carport onto the other structure.
Right.
But this really looks beautiful,
Yeah.
the way you've done it.
So it's definitely an improvement to the existing structure.
Yeah.
Renderings are powerful. I mean, obviously, we have to go out to the site and all that kind of stuff, but
Right.
it's very helpful.
We keep that in mind for future
Yes,
applications. just to
please.
include them.
We always ask for it. I know
Yeah.
Gretchen tells people, and she has actually examples that she can provide people
Right.
for what we need. Questions, concerns? Okay. Since the planning board has done what they have to do, I'm going to make a motion to close the public hearing. Do you have a second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. All right, and what that means is we have 60 days to give a resolution, but we'll have them available by probably October 15th. You don't have to be here for the reading of the resolution, you certainly can be. It'll be online within a day or two before the hearing, before October 15th.
Okay.
And is October 11th a good day for us to come out there? And
Yes, yeah.
okay, and I may have asked for, is it staked out where the general parameters of this thing?
No, it's not, but I can say
Yeah,
it
can you
up
give
for
us
you.
an idea, because that's really important for us to
Sure.
see, either stake it out or
Okay.
paint something or wherever, so we can see the general parameters.
Okay. Do you want me to be present that day, or just take it up?
You can come if you
Okay.
like, sometimes it's helpful. Would we schedule it through you?
Yeah.
Okay. So we like to do it on a Saturday.
Saturday, October 11th. Okay.
All right, so we'll see you then.
All right. Thank you, Roy.
Thank you.
Any further discussions from the board?
No, it's definitely improves the existing structure, that's for sure, in my opinion. So I don't, subject to the site inspection, I don't see an issue with it, but the rest of the gang?
Good.
I agree with you totally. All right, next on is case number 1088, 34 Mill Road LLC. Good evening. Is there anybody here for this application? Again, this is 34 Mill Road LLC. Case number 1088. Anybody here for this? Okay. Well, please state your name and walk us through the application. I guess I should make a motion to open up the public hearing. So you're supposed to watch me here.
Well, I'm used to it. I feel like it's an
Just in the
introduction.
You were going to say, one of the two of you has to
Yeah,
yell.
it's the introduction and then you ask for the public hearing. But
All right, so I'll make a motion, we open the public hearing, do I have a second? All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, now, take it away.
Good evening, my name is Frank Mazzarella, I'm an architect who's working with Jonathan Lynch on putting an addition on this existing house at 34 Mill Road, the historic structure in 1910. We also will be extensively renovating the existing structure. So we're here for variances, setback variances, due to the fact that it's a non-conforming lot. It is 150 feet wide and approximately.
It's a 250.
I'm sorry?
250 feet?
245 on one side and about 267 on the other side. 0.88 acre lot. So the existing house is shaded in gray here. Mill Road is on the left. There's an existing drive here. There are some items which we might be tweaking. The drive, there were comments about this drive, using the existing drive. We may be coming in a little bit further, closer to the village, pulling through to the kind of motor court here. The other thing I do want to mention is that...
There's an addition in the back there.
Yes, I do want to mention this because the owner and I had a conversation. There is an existing shed located right here, and I think we decided that we were going to remove this shed from the application and use the existing shed that's there. So that will be, that's the only real modification. So to walk you through the additions to the house are a kind of primary suite with a side entry, primary bedroom, bath, laundry, etc. A carport, which is not a garage, but a carport. Very intentionally, we're searching for transparency. All the additions set back from with respect to the existing house, and very intentionally we planted this kind of privet hedge, which is an ilex, is an evergreen shrub which can grow to a certain height. We're thinking at least 7 feet to shield these new proposed structures from the road. So our setbacks are, variances on this side for the carport, variances as well for the bedroom addition, and a variance for the setback of this kind of porch pergola structure, which is an open structure. It's on columns. Want to go through the next? Any questions about this?
No, but if you can continue, well, I did have one kind of question. I know there was an issue with some historic issues about the historic nature of the house and all that kind of stuff, and I thought there was a concern about the dormer. I know you're going to address certain things about the driveway. Any thoughts about addressing some of the other issues that were more related to the structure and the historic nature of it?
Well, we have been very careful about leaving the existing house exactly the way it was. The only reason for the dormer was to make that kind of guest bedroom more livable. Right now it has a knee wall, which comes down probably less than 3 feet. And so the addition of the dormer allows that to become a more comfortable space, and it's also one of the objectives and one of the desires of Jonathan has always been, this is a very kind of Victorian house, has very little light, is to bring light and to make these spaces a bit more, joyful, bring natural light into them. And we thought the dormer was a reasonable addition. We're using the same type of moldings as this. We wanted to look like it was there. I know it was not there, but we tend to think that you can do additions to historic structures. And you just have to be careful and sensitive about it. So the moldings, the materials are the same. We're willing even to change the proportions of those windows. So if they would like something that's more vertical, we can look into that. It's intentionally set back from from all edges of the roof and the facade so that it doesn't look like an extension of the facade, but more of an object sitting up on the roof. Perhaps if there was an issue with the slope of the dormer, we could look into that as well. But we'd hate to, give it up.
That's kind of out of our bailiwick a little bit, but I know it's a concern of the plan.
Yeah.
So that's-
And the other comment I made about the driveway is also something we're perfectly willing to look into. And as long as it's safe for people pulling in and out of there, there's the neighboring driveway, the kind of toward the house next door is somewhat, we'll look into that. So this is just a larger scale plan showing the ground floor plan. The existing house is in gray. This is the new addition. So both these additions are 1 story. It's under 12 feet, the maximum height. Sloping roof, it slopes down from about 12 to 8 feet, just to allow, minimum access headroom. And the idea is that the top of that roof comes in below the eave, so it's within the facade of the house. It does not interrupt the roof lines of the existing house. Those roofs will slope inward, creating kind of an podium or courtyard effect. And there's also plantings here which accompany all of the intervention.
Did you say slope inward?
Yes, and that's, we'll see that in the renderings as well. Next slide, please. So this floor plan of the existing house shows that we maintain all of those rooms to the exact same size, and even the doors and all the trim, We're going to do a thorough renovation of this house. It's a restoration, really. There's some stucco on the exterior that has to be repaired. We plan on using stucco on the addition as well. It has an asphalt shingle roof now, which we'd like to replace and put something a bit more in keeping with, local typologies. A metal roof, we can talk about, the finishes, whether it's a mill finish, whether it's a zinc-like finish, whether it's weathered, it's pretty well-defined proposal, but we're still, open to
Again, that's
right.
more planning board, but still.
Just showing the dormer here, element here, so this is a cut. It's a graphic convention, so you're actually cutting through a portion of the roof and a portion of the plan, but you're seeing the roof sloping down here, the roof, and this is the dormer protruding outward, and it also allows daylight into the bathroom, the new bathroom. We're not increasing the number of bedrooms, so it was 3 bedrooms, it's going to continue to be 3 bedrooms. The house is very small, so any addition you make to a house which is 1,000 square feet, it tends to look big. We've even been reducing it. How can we get smaller? We reduce the carport, we reduce the primary suite addition. So this is the roof now you're seeing above the primary suite addition. This is the roof above the carport. And you see it's really a detached structure which is attached by a pergola to the house. So the idea is that this is a very permeable thing that you can walk through, and even the walls of that carport are more like a trellis. So the idea that vegetation and flowering plants can grow on that and creep upward, want to look more like an arbor rather than the wall of a garage. You can see through to the backyard. There's fencing, so the carport actually acts as part of the fencing, so we're tying in the fencing on one side here. There's a gate underneath this pergola structure. And then the fence on the other side, a house acts as a barrier as well, and there's a fence which pulls off and travels upward to the lot line. It's a pull fence. And much of that will be behind the vegetation, the ilex, the privet hedge.
Stupid question. So if the roof or whatever slopes inward, where does the water go?
Right. So we have gutters here. It's depicted here. There's a downspout here. I was thinking of putting more of a rain chain, kind of a decorative element here. And there's another gutter here sloping downward with another, we could do either a rain chain or a downspout here. When you have an overhanging roof, to bring back that tiling, it becomes a little bit, so sometimes I do a decorative rain chain and put a little garden underneath there with some rocks, and so able to, so plants were adapted to, wet environments, and some gravel underneath there will absorb the water. These are solar panels that I think I mentioned. So this orientation works very well for solar panels. So it's actually facing south. Next slide, please. Just a roof plan showing the dormer, existing roof, and the roofs of the proposed additions. Next slide. These elevations, I tell people, they tend to be abstract because you're looking at everything as things that are very far in the distance, but they look, like they have much more presence of protagonism than they actually do. What's strong in here is the hedge in gray that's just running behind the house. So this is the dormer on the front of the house, and all of this is set way back. So this addition is even set back. We made some modifications also to the elevation since we last met. So we reduced kind of the scale of what was happening on the rear of that new lounge, which I mentioned, which has become kind of the heart of everything that happens in the rear with the patio. It's now more of a generous one-story. It's a maximum height of under 12 feet as well. So all of these kind of sloping elements on either side for the pergola and the bedroom addition, and this little bay window which kind of steps out into the landscape and allows you to look and enjoy the surroundings there, especially the big red maple tree which is in the backyard there. Next slide, please. This is the view. These are views from the side. There's just minor additions to this. We added 2 windows to get more light in the kitchen and the dining room here. This is the pergola sloping, the roof sloping toward us. This is here's the railing. You can see is drawn in here for the carport. And there's another one intended to be over here at the end of this, and there's a downspout on the end of the bedroom wing as well. Next slide. Okay, so this is the rendering that you requested showing the existing house, which is, the only changes really here are these 2 windows that you're seeing. Everything else is going to be fully restored. There's a concrete kind of porch floor there. It's a solid. We're going to face that in bluestone. The columns that are in disrepair are going to be repaired. And again, we're using the same material palette as the existing house. So these timber frame elements that you see on the gable ends of the existing house, we kind of pick up on that with the timber structure for the additions on the rear, the porch, and our little kind of bay windows will all have overhangs, which will have wooden purlins and wooden soffits as well. So the language is more contemporary to say, but we're trying to be very sensitive with the use of materials. This is the view which was presented previously. It hasn't really been modified, but you're seeing how that carport is really more kind of support for vegetation. The only thing, instead of horizontal slats, because we added the pool now, those slats should be vertical so that the child cannot climb on them. But it's the same strategy, the same language, and there are some just color changes that will occur here for these beams and the column here. This is now you're seeing how we've very intentionally reduced the height of the glazing here. So now it's actually in a small bay window which advances towards the yard and the patio, and now the gable of the original house is now visible behind. So again, following a little bit this with the Secretary of Interior standards regarding what's new, what's old. Changing materials, changing plane. Also, we've changed the bay window now, only extends towards the rear yard. This is a pergola structure, which is all in wood. These timber frame elements, which I remember all of this is wood, which I mentioned. It's all, we're using the same materials and color palette as those in the existing house. And again, using glazed areas to distinguish or break, the old from the new. Next slide. This there's just one contour really that was changed. It's a very flat site, so there's just this one where I need to kind of flatten out a little bit this area in the rear, so the existing contour, which is this line, gets pulled back here to make this a little bit more horizontal and allow us to develop that patio area. And in addition, there's one tree which I've kind of located approximately, but we'll go out there and locate that more exactly with the diameter of the trunk and type of tree, etc. This is the only tree which I think that we have to remove. Again, the shed will not be building a new shed, but using the existing shed. And it's showing how all of the landscaping here. This is the ilex hedge at the back of the existing house. This is that beautiful red maple, which really lights up in the fall. Another vegetation accompanying the driveway, which we think we're going to just pop through right here now. We'll create some nice pathway to the front of the house.
When we go out there, everything's going to be staked out. We're going to see if it hasn't been done already.
We will do that for you, both you and the planning board. And I think you like heights as well, so we stake
Heights
it
as
out.
well, but the main thing here, because it is so big, and I know the house is small, but just to see the general area, and
Yes,
very important.
we have plans to do that, yes.
So,
Do you have a site visit plan with the planning board already?
That has been mentioned, they've set, we don't have a date yet. No, it hasn't, you haven't contacted us yet, but we are,
The members contact them, because it's a little different.
so I don't, so there are two separate groups, correct? Do you sometimes?
typically, every now and then, we'll have a site visit together, but typically we do separate visits. And we like to try to keep them on one date, it just makes it easier for us, so that's why the October 11th date has been mentioned here.
Okay, so you do several of your site visits on the same day, is
Yeah.
that what you're saying? Okay. So, yeah, we'll definitely be here. Yeah, we can make that work. We can make that work. Other slides?
All right, questions or?
These are just landscape
Yeah, it's
species.
I just have a question once you're done. I was gonna say, what are the other houses in the neighborhood like? Are they small like that, or?
Well, there's a sister house right next door.
There's a system which is an exact twin, which actually was granted variances, and that house, the addition was built up very close, or maybe not exactly parallel to the front facade. Oh, you can see here, it's set back. It's set back somewhat, but it's much more visible than what we're planning. So they have a kind of, I think that's a screen porch. I don't know exactly. It looked like it might be a screen porch in the back, and then there's this addition to the home here.
I kind of vaguely remember the sister house and there being some application, but
Yeah,
we have to get so many that, I'd like to get some information on what was done next door, what was granted, that would be helpful, because
Yeah, they used to sit, they were really similar houses, the same house with the terracotta tiles on the roof and this and that. And then that other one that we're pointing at, they did a renovation, I don't know, like 15 years ago or something? I can't remember, and it just changed it quite a bit, yeah. Yeah, they have a lot of,
yeah, it's a different strategy.
I know it was a party to the variance was required because I've been here for 22 years doing this, so, but I remember it vaguely, so.
I did want to mention, so Jonathan and I, the owner, we met with the neighbors on site, we showed them the proposal. They were in support of it, very positive, so.
Well, any input we can get from neighbors is helpful, either positive, negative, or in the camp. So it's important for the record,
Sure.
it's important for our considerations.
Sure.
Two quick questions. One is, in addition to being old, is the building also of historic importance? Is it on a register or in a zone? Or
It's not on the register. At one point it did, there were caretaker cottages for the Grasmere estate, but they were built in 1910, so it's more of it's really, almost a modern structure. It has a kind of Victorian design to it. So very different in terms of style from some of the other structures on the Grasmere Estate. But
It's not in a register.
no,
The whole Grasmere property, I think including this house.
but this is a separate lot now, is that?
It's a separate lot now, yeah.
Yeah, I know that the planning board has some issues, concerns about the historic nature of the property and wants to look into it a little bit more. That's been communicated to us. They've also requested that we continue the public hearing so that they can do a little bit more research, I believe, on those historic issues that they've addressed with you guys. So I don't know if it's on the registry or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can try to look into it. I'm sure the planning board might have that information though.
Yeah, but again, that's their bailiwick. We have a narrow focus, but still we like to know what the planning board's concerned with, and sometimes our concerns are become our concerns to some degree.
But since you mentioned the dormer, have you come across examples of buildings from that period that incorporate dormers originally?
Good, I'm sure. I'm sure it will be something that's common.
Yeah, and again, I'd also like to see what was done with the sister property, because if that has been changed materially, I think that's an important thing to know. Because presumably way back when, say 15 years ago, whatever it was, when variances were granted to the sister house, if it's been changed so that clearly the historic nature has been altered, I think that has to be considered in this case.
Do you mean it has to be considered because it sets a precedent?
No,
Well, it does set a precedent.
it sets a precedent, but I think on the other hand, if the other place was historically pristine, I think that would have an effect on my consideration on changing the historic nature of this house. But if the sister house has been changed so materially that historically the significance is gone, then I think that also has something to do with my considerations of this. I mean, if they've lost the historic nature of the house next door, it's not as big a deal, perhaps.
Right, that's,
Well,
That's what
I didn't know where you were going with it,
If it's
but I
still a historic
understand.
structure, it might still, even if this house is still a
I
historic
understand.
structure, it might still, and of course, the question that, in terms of the ZBA, even though you mentioned, some of the aesthetics might not be in your purview, typically, of course, your first consideration for a variance is, character of the neighborhood,
Right.
surrounding area.
But, and again, it goes to what happened next door. So if that character has been changed by what was done in the past, which I don't know, then perhaps that affects our consideration of change in the.
Yeah, I can say it's been changed significantly.
Well, we'll see when we go
They
out
lost-
there, because it's right next door.
historic quality they have.
So is that something you would like us to document, or is that something you
No,
see
no,
on
no.
a site visit, or?
Well, we'll see on the site visit what the structure next door looks like. But I've asked Gretchen to take a look at the records to see what, if anything, was granted as far as variances for the sister property. I do remember in the days of history that we did something a long time ago there, and let's see what that is.
Yeah, I talked to the neighbor about it, and there was, I think, the same kind of things as the
Yeah.
rest.
So could you just repeat, was it October 11th or October 12th?
October 11th, it's a Saturday. Does that work for you guys? Okay.
Yes.
And Gretchen will contact you, and
Let's figure out the times.
we'll figure out the times and all that kind of stuff, because we're going to have 3 or 4 probably at least.
Thanks.
Any questions, concerns?
On the other side, it looks like that house is in the middle. What's on the other side? Some kind of house that looks like it's pretty different architecture.
That house, more of it, is it?
I'm just curious.
When that house was built, Jonathan, do you know
I don't know the date. It's more like
a farmhouse, or
it's farmhouse ranch to the hybrid.
more like a gabled structure, with the roof parallel to the road? And it's like a mini farm operation there. There are a lot of outbuildings and things so that they are actually active in the, it's like a small farm, I guess they do.
Our size is about,
Well, they do. You see all these other, there's, if you drive by there, you can see there's a lot of,
There's a lot of stuff.
it's a working.
My one thought is with the site visit, you've got a lot going on in a small space. So I don't know if you want a mile of spray paint on the ground, so it's maybe staking or whatever makes sense.
Yeah, we
We'll stake out the corners and maybe put some, with the height and some of the corners, you can see the sloping roofs. Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a way to, the driveway that you propose is not currently there, obviously.
We can do something too,
So
maybe
something-
some flags
Yeah, some
that
flags or
delineate
Yeah.
where we would propose a new driveway.
I know you may change that depending on your interaction with the planning board, but what's being proposed now, flags is probably the way to do it.
Right.
Just give us an idea. And if you're there, you can take us through it too.
Yeah, we'll go through there, and we'll check, in terms of the vegetation, the trees there, where's a good place to. The only reason, we were considering that from the beginning, and we didn't do it because it seemed, to not have to get any permit from the highway department, and it just seemed like an easier, but still, we're willing to look into it.
Like a critical thinking adventure puzzle that we do. Just trying to puzzle.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
And there's nobody here from the public on this? All right. Normally, I would close the public hearing, but I know that the planning board has asked that we continue the public hearing. That's my understanding?
Yes,
So that
so
they
the
can look
planning-
into the
yeah, so-
historical nature and have some...
Yeah, so this application was on the planning board on Monday, but just at the introduction meeting, it hasn't been at the public hearing. So the public hearing for this application is scheduled at the planning board on October 20th, which actually is after the October 15th meeting. So I would suggest that the board, you can either continue it to October 15th, but we wouldn't still be able to move because the
You're
planning
saying
board
to
still...
November?
Yeah, the planning, I mean, you can always have it on for old business if you want to continue. I mean, you have done your site visit, so it might be good to at least, you can have it on at either a public hearing or old business, just to kind of discuss your site visit. Or you can continue it to the November, I had it written down here, November 19th, I want to say, whatever the November meeting is the board next 19th, okay. It's up to you how you would like to handle that, but just wanted to just put that logistics in your mind.
So the planning board is requesting that we put it over to the 19th of November.
The planning board is requesting that it be continued. They didn't specify it, but I just
But
wanted to let
obviously,
you
since
know.
they,
I mean, there is a I mean, if you have the public hearing continued to October, it allows you to continue your own discussions. Of course, if any comments, you can
and
accept
maybe by
comments,
then the
but-
planning board will have taken care of whatever concerns they have or...
Yeah, they probably won't have discussed, because they won't be on they won't have
Yeah.
met, so they won't be discussing it. We won't know what their discussions are. They do that in their meeting.
No, I understand, but they also, are they going to retain people to...
I know that, I believe that they were talking about getting a historic
So perhaps there might be some
consultant on
report or
this
something
matter,
like
yeah.
that. Let's keep it on for the 15th of October.
Okay.
So it's still in our... And if nothing's going to happen, it's just going to be a continuance. We can let the applicant know so they don't have to be here.
Yeah, and I mean, the benefit to continuing to the 15th, again, you'll have had your site visit, you can discuss the site visit, and then, begin deliberations if you have any thoughts on it, so that we can kind of keep it moving.
And then have a resolution
waiting for
available for the 19th.
Yeah, depending on, waiting on the planning board, yeah.
Okay.
Just one question. So, do you need, I know there was a request for some photographs. Is there, references just for dormers? Is there anything else you need from us in terms of the slides?
The only thing that I need is I want to see what we did, a long time ago.
Okay.
So that's Gretchen can check the records and we'll get that. So I don't need anything further from you about the rest of my board members. I think it's, and we'll do the site visit, which will show a lot.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll see you on the October 11th.
Do we have time, or do we get that?
We'll get you through Gretchen.
Okay.
I'll email.
Okay.
Confirm.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So this time, I'll make a motion that we continue the public hearing until October 15th. Do I have a second? Okay. All in favor? Aye. All right. So we're up to the 15th, but we'll see you on the 11th. All right. And that brings us to our last public hearing, which is case number 1089, Andrea Novik, 349 Agricultural Road. Is there somebody here for that? Mr. Graminsky.
Good evening, Mark Rubinski representing Andrea Novik.
By the way, is there anybody here for this application? Aha! I knew there had to be a reason you folks were out in the audience. So what happens here is that Mr. Graminsky will go through, after I make the motion of the public hearing, of course, he will go through the application. You will have an opportunity to ask him whatever questions you like. When you come up, if you could, just state your name, your address, and you can ask whatever questions, give whatever opinions you have. The only thing I do say is, well, I use this all the time. I say, the louder you speak, the less I hear. Okay, I expect everybody to be civil. People often have strong opinions, which is fine. But, you know, we're civil here, and we have decorum, and I don't tolerate people being obnoxious. And I'm not saying you folks, you look like all very nice people, but sometimes people get revved up, and that I just won't have, okay? And again, the louder you speak, the less I hear, and if sometimes insults and other things are hurled, then I don't listen to you at all. So just be guided accordingly. And you're on TV. So, let me make a motion to open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Mr. Graminsky, take it away.
So good evening, Mark Rubinski representing Andrea Novak on an application for consideration by this board for consideration for variance for 3 sections of the Town of Rhinebeck zoning ordinance. And those 3 sections are 125-27A, which states that accessory structures cannot be located in the front yard of the principal residence. The second one is 125-27A4, in that all roof accessory structures, with the exception of agricultural buildings, can exceed 1,500 square feet. And then finally, section 125-27A7, no more than 3 roofed accessory structures on a parcel. So this particular application is also being, there's a, in parallel, running an application with the Town of Rhinebeck Planning Board for consideration of minor subdivision. So the applicant's parcel is located on the east side of Ackerbrook Road. Total parcel area is 19.927 acres. The existing structures which this board is considering for this evening are located in this area right here. So this is actually the location of the residence for Andy. And then there are all the associated accessory structures with it. So this application with the planning board, as I mentioned, is for consideration of a 3-lot minor subdivision. So what's also shown on this plan are the other parcels that are being proposed, right? And so they're labeled 4A, 4B, and 4C, right? So this is the configuration for this parcel right here. And with this plan, I've shown, potential location for access to this parcel, and location of a residence, and location for potential consideration for sanitary disposal. I'll note that There has been field testing witnessed by the health department for parcel number 4A and also parcel number 4B. The existing residence has approved plans by the Dutchess County Health Department for water supply and sanitary disposal. And so just, staying with, parcel 4A, showing this location, I'll just note at this time that there's an existing driveway right here that accesses parcel, 4B, Andy's parcel, right through here. Existing driveway, it's actually over the shaded area, and then there's a loop here that goes to the residence and also another accessory structure. What you see here in shading, and that's something that's also being considered by the planning board, is we're proposing a common driveway, converting this individual driveway into a common driveway for access to 4A and continued access to 4B. And so that this section right up to here is going to be considered common. And then this small section through here, parcel number 4A is going to have an easement over 4B in order to access it. And I've detailed that in this upper right-hand corner. And then continuing to the south for parcel 4C, it will be accessed with an individual driveway. Once again, there's been field testing witnessed by the health department and in the process of doing design work in order to make submission to the health department for consideration for residents here, for water supply and sanitary disposal for both 4A and 4C. These parcels, parcel areas are outlined through here. Current zoning for the properties are C5. Lot configurations have been developed based on those requirements, not only for area, but for setbacks, various setbacks, lot widths at the building line, setback, front yard setbacks, etc. I'll just drop back to one thing, noting the consideration of this common driveway. The planning board has already been out for a site visit, so we had a public hearing on Monday for this. And so prior to that public hearing, the planning board was out on the site, and there was actually some discussion as to whether or not they were at first hesitant for use of a common driveway, just because of some historic issues in the town with common driveways. All these driveway entrances have been approved by the highway department. I actually had another entrance approved in this location for a potential individual driveway to lot number 4A. The choice from the applicant was not to use that because there's quite a bit of an existing vegetation along Acton Road, and in order to develop a driveway for adequate site distance, there was going to be some clearing of the vegetation along there. So after walking the planning board through that, there was a decision that was made that the common driveway was a better access into the property. Moving along, and now getting away from the parcels being created. Also on this plan, I provided a summary of the accessory structures on the property. And in that summary table, I list distance, distance to the front yard, to the front row line for each one of those parcels, each one of those accessory structures, and also providing the area of those accessory structures. So in this case, once again, I said there's 3 area variances that we're requesting. Obviously, one of them has for accessory structures in front of the principal residence. Of the 9 accessory structures located on the property and itemized here, 8 of them are in front of the principal residence. The carport garage is behind the principal residence. It's listed, right? It's listed in this table because of the other area variances being requested by the applicant, right? So since this is RC5 zone, you're allowed 3 accessory structures, so we have 9, so there's a request for that. And then the total, for those, the total area, floor area of roofed accessory structures allowed is 1,500 square feet. What exists right now is 4,884. So that summarizes the three, the dimensional, request for those three area variances. Help me understand this, Mark. So if I understand this correctly, there were 8 or 9 existing variance, quote-unquote, violations that they were grandfathered in. So did this trigger this, or?
I don't think they were grandfathered in.
Okay. So they were constructed, they obtained building permits, and they obtained COs. So what triggered this was the application for the subdivision, right? Because now, based on the current code, this determination was made by the zoning administrator that this applicant had to go in, come and visit this board to legalize this lot based on current zoning.
When were these, they're probably built at different times, but when historically were these things built? Were they built before the code, or? How in the world
Different code, because
before 2000.
I did the original subdivision and work for Andrea in 2000.
Okay, so.
Right, Andy?
Most of them were built when they were in the house, they were just part of the house.
So that was before.
It was before current zoning.
Do you want to go through the existing structures, what they look like?
Sure, and so last time at this,
we asked for photographs of what we're looking at.
Serious structures.
Excuse me?
It seems like a lot of them are not substantial structures.
Certainly when the board comes out for their site visit, it's going to see that they're really not visible from the road. And that and once again, like, we can go through them here, and then we could also go back on the map and take a look. They're all, the property is heavily vegetated, and, they're smaller structures, and they're kind of nestled in. These are obviously solar panels. Once again, all the photographs are numbered in accordance with the table that I put on the plan, identifying each one of the accessory structures.
Mark, did you submit, you probably did copies of the building permits and COs for all these? Do we have that information?
Kimberly has that. We don't have copies of them.
I did not include that as part of
okay, we can get it ourselves. We can internally.
Okay.
We'll grab it.
Second one is farm equipment shed. This is like a passive pool heater through here. Yeah, this is in there. Woodshed. Garden pool shed. Pool. Guest house office. It's what Andy calls the boot house. Garage carport. Remember, this is the one that's actually behind principal residence, and that's number 9. I also included not only photographs of the existing accessory structures this board requested. The applicant undertook a visual assessment for the property that's included both this board and the planning board, and it basically provides different viewpoints from Ackerhook Road to the site, and not only consideration of the existing structure, but partly, well, one of the reasons is for also the proposed lots 4A and 4B. And when the board comes out for their site visit, they'll see it's a really heavily vegetated property. Once again, so there's accompanying photographs
for each one of these locations through here as you go through. You can see, this is typical to the frontage along Acton Hook Road, on the east side of Acton Hook Road.
And Mark, these are constructed, so what you see here is what you would see.
That's correct.
Is the carport constructed too?
Yes. Yeah, this because of this is at like the southwest corner of the property. So this is, like the proposed house location for 4C.
This would be like with the house on that, after the subdivision is done? So it's not really for the
Yeah.
ZBA, but for that
Just
lot
provided
4C,
the
it's just showing you where the house would be located. once it's done.
And just to note that a little more visibility for 4C, 4A, it's completely tucked away. Just, if we go, when we go back to the overall subdivision map, you can see topographically where it's located, and the same thing with, once again, that was one of the reasons for using the common driveway, is there's already a driveway cut in, and then where you drop in, to the north for 4A, it's completely surrounded by pretty significant vegetation and topographical results. This is the existing driveway that's now going to be, so the driveway's, currently, 12 feet wide. Common driveway requirements are 16 feet wide. There's also, part of the building code is a pull-off every 500, provide a pull-off every 500 feet. That was considered in the design of the common driveway. That's included with the application for the planning board.
Okay, and these structures have been in for quite some time.
Yes, they have.
Any questions, or I'll ask the public if they have some questions or concerns? Okay. I know there are folks here on this application, so at this time, if you would like, come on up, state your name, your address, and address whatever concerns you have to Mark, or whatever opinions you have, whatever. We have a public hearing here, so you have the opportunity to voice your opinion and put in your input, which is very important to us, since you're neighbors. And, this will affect you. You don't have to come up, but if you would like to come up, please, we encourage you. We want to hear what you have to say.
I started looking at me. All right, I'm the closest neighbor.
I'm closest neighbor.
Well, you're close. I'm Cornelia Gallo. I'm at 340 Acton Hook Road. I think Mark's done a really good job of depicting everything. There really isn't any site for, I think, any of the neighbors, including you guys. I definitely support the shared driveway. I will have a different opinion if you decide a third driveway. So we can smack in front of my house.
That's not before us. So
Okay. But I think they've taken everything into consideration and are supporting the Lansman Hill Trail Association still with the development. So I think it's a nice project.
Thank you.
Love that input. I tell you.
Wait,
it's really
Mark,
nice.
that's the first time I've spoken
I know.
Wait. Rockledge. You see who's up to my right. And we do like to keep these things light if we can, but we know it's very important too. So But please, if you have any inkling, feeling that you want to give us some input, we encourage you. I don't want to pressure you, but if you
Now
have,
is the time.
now is the time. This is why we have public hearings, so.
You're not used to having audience. You're very excited.
Yes, we do, actually. No, but sometimes we have, the reason I gave you my little spiel is because sometimes we have audiences and they're not as nice as you folks. So,
But I'm the owner, I'm Andy, so I don't have anything different to say, but I just want to say that I'm just thrilled because this is I'm subdividing the land because my child's going to, this is my son, and he's going to build a house in the south, and then I'm putting my house in the north, I'm just building like an age-in-place house for myself, and then my other son will move into the main house and have a family compound and where I live, so thank you.
So Scott, before you consider closing the public hearing, just want to say, so Planning Board has also reviewed this application on Monday, and they also had no concerns. The only thing I would say is that it is an unlisted action. The Planning Board will be, I believe they were thinking about doing seeker on October 6th. They did not do seeker yet on September 15th.
Right, but they're going to do it at the first meeting.
Yeah, they said they were going to do it on October 6th.
so do we take the risk that they don't?
I mean, so what, the safest bet would be continue the public hearing, we'll have a resolution prepared following your discussions, just kind of in case something goes wrong.
And I think that makes sense. We can continue this public hearing, and then hopefully the planning board will do what they do, have their secret determinations, and then we can have a resolution ready for it.
That's fine. I mean, we all felt support from the planning board. It was a positive discussion, and that's what I heard,
Right.
you know, like for this board to act, they needed to see, the planning board needed to make the secret determination.
Yeah, so I think that the board, they did discuss their site visit. They also said that once they were kind of on the site, they kind of understood what the concept was. They understood that a lot of stuff isn't really visible. So anyway, I just wanted to just put that out there, logistics.
And October 11th, good day.
Absolutely.
Can I just also, Mark wasn't here, but the stand for White House, whatever resolution they got, because we're on the same schedule, it's not for solar panels, but if I don't get my building permit approved this year, then I have to have an all-electric house. So I'm really trying to get my permit in this year, and then my application in to get a permit, so I'm on the same expedited concern to get this.
And what I'm going to suggest is I'll make a motion that we continue the public hearing, and we'll do that so it's on for the 15th, but if the planning board does what they're planning on doing, we'll have the information we need, the secret determination, so that we can close it on the 15th, and we'll have a resolution ready for it. So this will not slow you down, but it protects us, because once we close the public hearing, we have 62 days to render a resolution. So we're kind of handcuffed. And if we continue it, it gives us some flexibility. And I'm sure the planning board will do what they're supposed to do. And we'll just close it, and we'll get your resolution in a timely fashion. Okay. Last chance, any takers?
God.
Well, you know.
Not last chance, because we continue.
Yes, sir.
Michael Langto, 220 Fly Road. Was the picture of the solar panels they've already been installed, or that is, okay, so that was a picture of...
All these structures, as I understand, Mark can speak to it, but all these structures have been in place for some time.
If you could go back to the site plan,
Oh,
please.
sure, yep.
Because sometimes pictures they look like they're in place, like in your proposal.
Right there.
So it's hard to...
They're right there.
Okay.
They exist.
So they're just behind Barry's house, on the corner of Barry's property.
They're pushed back, not their lot.
This is the new, this is the boundary right here. That's Barry's boundary.
Yep. It's just interesting on the first solar panel today how you know, it was 80 feet from the road, and they took pictures in the wintertime, and you couldn't see anything. And the person had 5 acres to put the 2 solar panels, the ground mounts on. And for the column bells, they have hundreds of acres, and yet they're moving like 25 feet. You know, it seems like there's a disparity that I don't understand with solar arrays. On Violet Hill Road, there are solar panels that are right alongside the road. And I have solar panels myself. I have a system, a big system, but my system is far off the road. You can't see it. So I'm just wondering, why is there such a discrepancy in how the solar panels are allowed? You know, it seems to me like some people have unfair advantages. My take.
Well, I can tell you that each site is unique, and you know, so that's a big consideration. For example, Dove's Nest, that was a unique situation. So sometimes it makes sense for there to be a variance because there's really no other place to put it. Here, this is a different situation because it's been there.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so I just want to
are you-
explain too that, so in terms of disparaging, so the zoning law has certain setbacks that are required for the solar law. And so what is coming in front of the ZBA is when somebody is installing a solar panel or solar array that's outside of what's permitted by the zoning law, they're seeking a variance. And what the ZBA does in considering the variance is that they do a balancing test based on the factors for that particular one. It's an overall balancing factor test that's based on the facts of that particular one. So there's every solar panel is treated, you know, it has to follow the zoning law. When it doesn't, they come in front of the ZBA and request a variance, and that's what the ZBA is deciding based on the balancing test, if that.
So every situation has a
unique.
different situation.
Yeah.
You look at the property, there may be only one place you can put it, and unfortunately, it doesn't meet the requirements of the law. So
Thank you for that.
Yeah, and you can't see myself.
And I would think that the ones on Violet Hill was probably predated recently, because those were pretty long ago.
Yeah, I think the solar energy law, it was adopted in Rhinebeck pretty recently. I can't remember the exact date. I think it was 2024 or 2023.
Well,
but
I will tell you, I was on the board
yeah.
for that,
Yes.
and anyway. I understand a lot of people didn't like that, and maybe they were right, but sometimes we make mistakes, but that was before you got a variance. Yeah.
I think that was before the solar energy law.
Yeah, but they were here for variance, they had to get a variance to put it there.
Okay. Yeah.
And I know I was here, Pierce Smith, a couple of people like West, et cetera. Yeah. Anyway. All right, I'm not gonna ask you again.
Sure.
Yeah. What about you people? Anybody have anything here?
Well, it looks like from the pictures, all that stuff from up here and the overhead picture, it looks like there's a lot there, but from the road picture, you can't see
You
anything.
can't see it.
So it's,
anything.
And we'll go out and do
Yeah.
it, site visit, and check it out. Well, thank you very much for explaining the application. And at this point in time, I am going to make a motion that we're going to continue the public hearing until October 15th. And hopefully by that time, the planning board will do what they have to do, and we can close the public hearing at that time and have a resolution for the Senate. At this time, I make a motion to continue the public hearing until October 15th. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so,
Thank you very much.
and we'll see you on the 11th.
Great, thank you. Okay,
Thank
we have
you.
time for questions?
What's that?
Well, yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Any other discussions from the board on this, what your initial thoughts are?
My initial thoughts are it's fine, they're already in place, they're way back, it's fine by me, but subject to a site visit.
The neighbors are cool.
And full neighbors and covenants. That's very important. All right, so finally, we're on to old business, and I already read the art.
Yes, we did our first.
All right, I guess I'll leave then.
Hey, no, you had to stay. Torture.
All right, thanks, guys.
See you. See you on the 11th.
Yep, the 11th.
So, the schedule only shows 2, I know we have.
Yeah, but then
Yes.
there's Bathwick and.
We had Bathrick and Josephsburg because they were continuations, so you've already had your deliberations.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And Richard was the point. Oh, wait, so that was continued?
No, we have a resolution on Tobin, so we'll read it. And
Should we take turns?
maybe I should read it, I think, probably.
Why not?
Well, why not? All right, let me find it. That's Joseph Burke, okay. So I'll read Tobin. This is a resolution of the Town of Rhinebeck Zoning Board of Appeals in the matter of area variance application of Justin and Andrew Tobin, ZBA case number 1084. And it reads as follows. Now therefore be it resolved based on all the facts described above and upon the reasoning described above as follows. Section 1, the ZBA hereby grants the variance requested by the applicant, finding that the benefit to the applicant outweighs the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such a grant. The ZBA finds that the shed will not negatively impact the neighborhood, the environment, or nearby properties, and the variance requested is not substantial. Although the shed could have been placed elsewhere and the situation itself created, the location is reasonable and the variance is minimal. Section 2. The shed is currently constructed and exists on the property. The granting of the variance is expressly contingent that the accessory structure remains in conformity with the application and photos submitted. Section 3, the granting of the variance shall also be expressly contingent upon the applicant's full payment to the town of Rhinebeck of any of the fees and escrow deposits due in connection with this application in full compliance with Article 14. Fee reimbursement of the town of Rhinebeck zoning law. The variance shall not be degraded until all such fees are paid in full by the applicant. Section 4, the granting of the variance does not absolve the applicant from having to secure any other required permits and or approvals. And Section 5, the area variance shall be null and void unless the proposed construction is commenced within 1 year of the resolution. Of course, it's already up, so that doesn't really apply. But anyway, any questions, concerns, comments? We did a site visit on, was it Saturday? I didn't, when you go down Way Road, the property's up on the left on the top of the hill, you can barely see the shed, which is to the right of the principal structure as you come up the driveway. It's a nice looking shed. Yeah, it's, it's there, and the variance probably should have been requested before it was put in place, but you can't really see it from the road. It's very hard to see. Looking at the area where the vegetation is vast in the area, it's clear that none of the neighbors would see this, and even if they did, it's a nice looking shed, to tell you the truth. And I doubt in the winter, anybody's going to be able to see it. I will note that we offered at the public hearing to come out and visit with the neighbors who had expressed some concerns, to go out on their property and visit with them and see what their concerns were. I think, as I recollect, there were 2 folks who took us up on our offer, and then as I recollect, subsequently they indicated that that would not be needed. So I just want to make that clear. I didn't get into the visit in the body in some place where...
Yes, I indicated that in the planning of the site visit.
Yeah. So I just want to put that out there that, we offered to go out and, which we always do, to see what the neighbors are talking about, go on their property to see their vantage point, and we didn't do it because they said that it wasn't required. Any other comments? Nothing? Wow. All right, so at this time I make a motion that we adopt the resolution as read. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Gretchen?
Scott?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Karen? Yes.
So, I don't know which one is next.
The next one is Bathrick, which was another one that was Richard.
Okay, who would like to do that? You would like to do that?
Sure.
You volunteered. Was that worth it?
Sure. Good news. Neighbors' reactions. You can't have too much good news, can you? So.
Thank you.
Before we read Bathrick, I wanted to just make a few, I added a few additional comments in after it has been posted, so I just want to just bring your attention to those for your review. It was just because when I was reviewing my notes, I remembered that there were a few comments, and I just wanted to catch those in the resolution. I talked to Gretchen, she's going to get me the date for the Dutchess County Planning Board. And, wait, hold on, I'm on the wrong. I believe, though, I spoke to Gretchen, I believe the Dutchess County Planning Board said it was a matter of local concern, they had no comment.
Right.
I just needed the date for that. So I just added, Cornelia Gallo had made a comment at the last public hearing saying that the logo and the branding of the company was the same as what appears on their invoices. And then Steve Fears had provided a comment saying that, discussing the Rhinebeck Planning Board's referral comments, that it didn't have a Rhinebeck feel to it and it feels corporate. So I just wanted to just address those. Those are in the resolution. And I did, as I mentioned earlier, I did look into that Fly Pond issue. I just kind of quoted that section of the zoning law, which is 125-37M3, which says all signs should be constructed of wood, metal, or masonry material, and the applicant should adjust the materials to be compliant with the zoning code.
And what was the phone number address?
Yes, that was the other thing. I added a few conditions that had been discussed at the last meeting. One was that the sign shall have no LED lighting. That's already been removed, but I just want to just make that as a condition. Telephone numbers shall be removed from the proposed sign. Former sign, a little white board will be removed upon installation. Kara had mentioned about trying to maintain the landscaping that was kind of shown on the picture. So I just kind of said that, the landscaping should be provided similar to how it's shown. We can adjust it, unless you would like it specifically to that. And then, again, just saying signs shall be constructed of wood, metal, or masonry. Applicant should discuss the materials based on the proposed sign with the zoning enforcement officer prior to the issuance of the sign permit to confirm that the Pylon materials are permitted. And then we usually have a condition saying it's going to be constructed in conformity with the plan. I just left it open in case there needs to be a change based on that review.
My only comment is to try to move things forward, to not belabor this, but I've driven past the sign on Route 32 that's existing. And it is not at all, it looks okay. The phone number, if they want to put their phone number on that, I think they should be able to. I'm surprised they don't put their website on or something, but that's not.
So I thought it was quaint that they put a phone number on it, frankly.
Yeah, but I mean, it's really, and the white actually offsets even more. I mean, I'm fine by it. So.
Yeah, I think there's another planning board had addressed that issue, and I don't know that any of the signs in the area actually have phone numbers and things like that. So I think that's more in keeping with the signage in the general corridor in that area. But
it's up to you if you guys, that was just a discussion that was mentioned at the last meeting. You guys can, of course, adjust anything.
I've purposely looked at it every time I've driven past since the last meeting, and I don't have any issue. I'm a little, what they showed us today has what, has white around it, and what it's standing there now is wood with the color bit in it. So I don't know exactly how it's going to look, but frankly, when you look at that building, or that property, you're seeing equipment.
Right.
You really, I mean, the sign does not
Exactly.
stand out against, it's not even that there isn't just a building there with a sign in front of it. It's like a million cherry pickers and diggers and things like that, and it's this little patch
Elevators.
in that thing. So I have no issue with it in that location.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the sign, to tell you the truth, but,
So phone number
we can,
on or off?
if the board is, feels that that's not a problem, then I'll go with that, that's not. I mean, I was surprised about a little bit of the objection of the planning board, given the fact that that sign compared to the other signs. Richard actually had Mark Kaminsky's, analysis of all the signs in the area. I mean, it is, it's fine, and it looks better than a lot of the signs in the area. And it is much more muted than the application shows.
There's branding in the sign, right?
There's branding in the sign, I know some.
No, it's there, they clearly had somebody do a brand system for them.
The planning board has, and I know had issues with branding and things like that in the past, and has gotten branding to change. But again, I don't have any problem with the sign as it looks. I think it's fine. And as Kara just said, I mean, what you see there is this building, and then next to it you see all kinds of heavy equipment and things like that. So I think the sign's fine. Anyway, would you like to read?
I would love to read this. ZBA case number 1075, Bathrick, parentheses, timely signs. Now therefore be it resolved, based on all the facts described above, upon reasoning described above as follows. Section 1, the ZBA hereby grants the variance requested by the applicant, finding that the benefit to the applicant outweighs the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant. The applicant proposes to install a sign for the business, equipment rentals and sales. The area in which the property is located. Although residential is 55 miles per hour and near other commercial businesses. It is also in nearby proximity to Route 9 corridor, which also features other branding and logos from business. The sign must be a certain size to the property alert customers and travelers so they can safely turn into the property. The property is located next to other commercial uses such as Warren Cutler and Louise. Thus, even with a larger sign, it will not seem out of place for that area, particularly as there will be no lighting on the sign. Section 2, the granting of the variance is expressly contingent upon the following. 1, the sign shall have no LED lighting. 2, the former sign shall be removed upon the installation of the new sign. Section 3, the granting of this variance shall be expressly contingent upon the applicant's full payment to the town of Rhinebeck of any and all fees and escrow deposits due in connection with the application in full compliance with Article 14, fee reimbursement of the town of Rhinebeck zoning law. Variance shall not be deemed granted until such fees are paid in full by the applicant. Section 4, the granting of this variance does not absolve the applicant from having to secure any other required permits and approvals. The proposed sign must be constructed in conformity with the application and plans submitted. And 5, the area variance shall be null and void unless the proposed construction is commenced within 1 year of the resolution.
So, would you like to remove the telephone number as a condition?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to keep the other ones that were added, the landscaping and the material construction?
Yes. But that's just me. So everybody here has a voice, so.
Yeah, I do think that the sign being wood would make it fit. I mean, I don't even know if you can tell. I mean, that's something I noted earlier, like how much can you actually tell from a distance? But given the corporateness of it and this, that, and the other thing we discussed, I feel like if it is in wood, that somehow it's going to look less.
It'll be more quaint.
It'll be more quaint. I'm agnostic on the telephone. I think it looks better without the telephone number, but that's purely my branding expertise.
Yeah, and see if they want the telephone number, it's not like tremendously, it's not at all attractive. Look at the sign, I don't have the telephone number.
I'm agnostic as well with the telephone number, just knowing the other signs in the area, well, maybe some other signs.
A lot of them used to, when we first moved here, a lot of them had 876 and 4 digits.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that now is pretty common.
So I guess remove.
Yeah, I'd say remove.
Remove it
Remove
as a condition?
as a
remove.
condition, yeah.
So
But
in other words,
remove
we'll remove that condition then?
Remove that condition, but keep the conditions on the landscaping.
Would you like me to add a statement in the condition about the material saying what is preferred?
Well, we know they're not going to go for masonry, so I mean, that leaves metal, right? So that, to me, it's the surround, the material of the surround that's more part of the vernacular than the colored part of the sign. But if they're showing, you know, what they've shown, if you paint aluminum, maybe it looks just exactly like wood from the road, I don't know. But it should look like a wooden sign, whether it's made out of wood or not.
Okay, I can add a little statement just saying, you know, wood or a similar design as wood, or I'll think
Wood
something
or
to
wood
just
look or
yeah,
something like
okay.
that.
I'm agnostic on it too, but I mean, it's a metal building, so maybe they're going to end up doing some type of metal, I don't know. I'm agnostic.
Yeah, honestly. Because I was curious about the difference in the cost of the sign and the maintenance of it if you make it out of other materials.
Well, the wood's gonna rot probably versus, you know, having an aluminum or something like that. So I think that's an advantage. But again, I mean, on either side of it, you got warm cutlery and you got rubies. So whether it's made out of wood or aluminum, I don't think it makes a hell of a difference. But I think, you know, wood's going to be nicer.
I'm just saying in the context of what the code says.
Okay, I have a little statement saying, that way it leaves a little open in case, but we're just making, the CBA is making a statement saying, preferably a wood or wooden feel to it.
Wooden feel. All I can think of was back in the 70s when we had a faux wood on the side of the cars. That wouldn't be good. That would not be good. We don't want to suggest
I
that.
had a Subaru with the wood on the side that was, it was just a sticker.
Yeah, we had a Ford LTD station wagon with the faux wood. It was hideous. Anyway. All right, I think we've had enough discussion.
I think so too.
More than enough. Would you like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve this resolution with the changes that Ken outlined.
And I will second that.
Scott?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Yes.
Karen? Yes.
And I think we should end the night with our newbie reading the final resolution. But she's been waiting.
Do I need to do Jennifer's? Yep.
Yeah, you get to do Jennifer. Then you like Jennifer.
Yeah.
I think it's very appropriate.
Okay.
So what you have to do is read, since it's been published or put out in the last day or two, I have to read this thing now, therefore. So the whole thing.
We'll start over here, and I need to say what it is.
Right.
So, so in the matter of the area variance application of Jennifer Josephsberg, CBA case number 1081. Now therefore be it resolved, based on all the facts described above and upon the reasoning described above as follows. Section 1. The ZBA hereby grants the variance requested by the applicant, finding that the benefit of the applicant outweighs the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such a grant. The proposed cabana is a reasonable accessory structure appropriately scaled and located outside regulated NYSDEC wetlands. While it is within the wetlands adjacent area, all necessary permits from the New York State DEC has been received, and the applicant will need to receive a wetlands permit from the town of Rhinebeck Planning Board. Section 2, the granting of this variance is expressly contingent upon the following. A, the applicant must receive a wetlands permit from the town of Rhinebeck Planning Board. B, the proposed structure must be constructed in conformity with the application and plan submitted, subject to any changes required in the consideration of the wetlands permit from the town planning board. And C, if the planning board requires the cabana to be moved or relocated closer to Cedar Heights Road for the purpose of its wetlands permit, the applicant will need to apply for a new area variance from the town of Rhinebeck CBA. Section 3, the granting of this variance shall also be expressly contingent upon the applicant's full payment to the town of Rhinebeck of any and all fees and escrow deposits due in connection with this application in full compliance with Article 14, the reimbursement of the town of Rhinebeck zoning law. This variance shall not be deemed granted until all such fees are paid in full by the applicant. Section 4, the granting of this variance does not absolve the applicant from having to secure any other required permits and/or approvals. The proposed structures must be constructed in conformity with the application and plans submitted, subject to any changes required in consideration of the wetlands permit from the town of Rhinebeck Planning Board. Section 5, the area variance shall be null and void unless the proposed construction is commenced within 1 year of this resolution. May I have a motion?
No. First we have to do, we have to talk about it a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But the only, and by the way, I acknowledge I'm barely literate, but in section 1, it should be, while it is within the wetlands adjacent area, all necessary permits from the New York State Department have been, yeah.
It's the lawyer in you.
No, it's the nuns from the 60s and
I was
70s.
going to say the nuns.
Yeah. Penguins. Anyway. So it made perfect sense. I mean, she's just replacing the pool. She replaced the pool, and she's just adding that cabana. And we all went out and did the site inspection. The DEC has blessed it, and it's, to me, it made absolute sense. But I think it wasn't.
It's not at all visible from the road or
No.
the neighbors, so, I mean,
Right. And I don't think there's a wetlands issue. The DEC would.
right, there's got to be stricter.
Yeah.
The applicants jumped through enough hoops.
Yes, yes.
So,
Now, you may make a motion.
Oh, I can, so I say I'd like to make a motion.
Yeah, you say, I would like to make a motion to approve the resolution as read.
The resolution as read.
Subject to that one. Subject to that one grammar.
Subject to the correction in section 1.
Do I have a second?
Do I have a second?
You do, second. And then, instead of saying all in favor, since we're doing the resolution, we go to Gretchen and say, Gretchen,
So I
please,
go
a roll call.
Gretchen, over to you. Scott,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Kara. Yes.
All right. I believe that is it for the evening.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second. We'll see everybody on the 11th of October. Steve, awesome job as usual.
You too.
so much.
Right on.
Steve,